This is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
It's been a tough week for many in the Cumberland Valley. First, it started with 2 toddlers and a mother dying in a fire in Harlan County. Now an 18-year-old is dead. Police say a truck hit him this morning in Bell County. WYMT's Hannah Reynolds talked to those who knew him.
Just a total tragedy here in Bell County. As a police officer, to go out here and have to work these type of complaints, that's one that you don't want to have to work.
A truck was driving through Pineville early Thursday morning when he saw someone standing in the roadway.
He was unable to avoid him and struck that individual.
The crash killed 18-year-old Ethan Fugit.
We're just all devastated.
Putting those who knew him at a loss.
He's always laughing and cutting up with other kids, just a great all-around kid.
Teachers that had Ethan in class describe him as a sweet person. And even after he left Wright Fork Elementary, he never lost his kind heart.
Just recently, he'd run me down to speak, so he kept that personality.
And the community is mourning the loss of Ethan Fugit alongside his loved ones.
We're hurting with them. They have a shoulder they can lean on in us, and they have our prayers.
Remembering Ethan Fugit. In Bell County, Hannah Reynolds, WYMT Mountain News.
Right now, we do not know funeral arrangements for Ethan. Once we learn those, we'll pass them along to you. 2 of the 3 people accused of kidnapping a teenager from southern Kentucky and taking her to Cincinnati appeared before a judge today. Tiffany Cheek and Michael Nason are facing multiple charges, including human trafficking. Police say they tricked the 16-year-old girl into thinking Cheek was going to be her new guardian. Then they put her in the back of a U-Haul and drove her to Cincinnati. Cheek and Nason were arraigned today in Barberville. Their public defender entered a not guilty plea. A third suspect, Carl Hickman, is still in Ohio. A Harlan County father injured in a fire this week is still fighting for his life. Sadly, officials tell us Chad Howard remains in critical condition. His wife Allison died yesterday. Their twin children were found in the burned remnants of their home Monday. As of now, investigators have not said what they believe caused the fire. Services for Allison and the children will be held this weekend. Meanwhile, the community is coming together to support that family. A Sunday supper will be held April 28th from noon until 3 at the Benham Schoolhouse Inn. Adults cost $12.95, while children 6 to 12 eat for $7.95. Children younger than 6 eat for free. The 2019 Prescription Drug Abuse and Heroin Summit is in the books. But before it ended, they held another summit to talk about marijuana. WYMT's Will Puckett attended the all-day session and has more from the Hyatt Regency in Atlanta.
They compare it to big tobacco of the old days. That is where marijuana is heading right now. But it has expanded over the years to become almost 99% THC levels. There is medical purpose possibly for marijuana, but the commercialization we're seeing today is frightening for many. Marijuana, it can have a purpose.
There are medicinal components of marijuana that you can get medications from a pharmacy.
But there are other aspects of marijuana that are becoming increasingly dangerous to our youngest generations.
The biggest effect of today's marijuana on kids is changes to their brain. And by the way, that isn't without saying that changes to the lungs aren't important or heart isn't important also, because those are very important. But I'm most concerned about what happens with mental health.
Marijuana. It's tricky. It registers differently from the effects of drinking. There are studies that show those who are high and are driving are just as dangerous as those who drink and get behind the wheel.
THC is fat soluble, so it leaves your blood very quickly and it sticks to your brain.
Regulation, that could most likely be the key. But so far, it has not been done.
No state has done it so far. And the nature of the industry is that it's extremely difficult to do so, if at all possible. It hasn't happened yet. Maybe theoretically it's possible, but it hasn't happened yet if we look at the states that have legalized.
But education, like what Sam is doing, many hope it will lead to wholesale changes in how we see and treat marijuana. So they say it's not about mass incarceration, but also the commercialization that we're seeing, again, is frightening. It's about finding that happy medium that could lead to possible medicinal purposes for marijuana. But right now, there's a lot to find out. In Atlanta, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
To learn more about the group SAM, just head to WYMT.com and find this story. We also learned today next year's summit will be held in Nashville for the first time. Controversial comments coming from Governor Bevin this afternoon. The governor is tying a shooting involving children to the teacher sick-outs earlier this year. The governor said a child home alone shot another child during one of the teacher protests in Frankfort. The shooting he's referring to was in Jefferson County back in March. An 11-year-old boy accidentally shot his 7-year-old sister. Here's what the governor had to say at an event in Louisville this afternoon.
One thing you didn't hear almost anything about is why we had people pretending to be sick when they weren't sick and leaving kids unattended to or in situations that they should not have been in. A little girl was shot, 7 years old, by another kid because they were somewhere that they weren't intended to be, and because the parent didn't have any option, put them into a situation so that they could go to work, that left these kids in a compromised situation where they encountered a gun.
Well, the governor made a similar comment last year. You may remember he said he guaranteed a child was sexually assaulted in Kentucky because of the teacher sick-outs then.
And clouds have been increasing throughout the day, and that's because of the rain that'll be moving in a little bit later this evening. You'll notice here on Moorhead, you're seeing those clouds that have been increasing throughout the day along Interstate 64, but we are still dry for now. You'll look into Jackson at the National Weather Service camera. Temperatures at 73 degrees, so still very comfortable out there and feeling like 73 with that dry dew point. You'll notice anywhere from those low to mid 70s across the area, so still feeling good outside, but there's the scattered rain chances you'll notice kind of out to our west. Those will continue to increase as we head into the overnight hours, bringing more soggy conditions as we head into those overnight hours. So for tomorrow, you're definitely going to need that umbrella, but the good news is by Saturday and Sunday, we do see that sunshine return. A little bit cooler on your Sunday as well. I'll have that full forecast coming up in just a little bit. Steve.
Thank you, Paige. We are a little more than an hour away from the award showcase at 32nd Annual East Kentucky Leadership Conference. Part of this year's conference includes a tour and reception at the Kentucky Coal Museum in Benham. WYMT's Justin Case stopped by the museum as they get set to celebrate their 25th anniversary in June. Justin?
Steve, I'm in front of the Benham Schoolhouse Inn. Now, right across the street is where the Kentucky Coal Museum is. Now, this museum is no ordinary museum. This is several levels, multiple levels, really detailing every aspect, every part of a coal miner's life. And it goes really into detail from things like work, from home life, work and the railroads, to actually artifacts, history, and tools from some of them from almost 100 years ago. Now, the curator here says that this is one of the most comprehensive museums of the history of coal in this region you will find perhaps anywhere in this nation. She says it is important to have this museum in place to educate younger generations about the history of how this area really came to be.
It really explains to the younger generation what their grandparents or great-grandparents had to go through to make a living in this area.
Steve, now the Coal Museum is actually owned and operated by Southeast Kentucky Community and Technical College, and tomorrow's events for the conference will be held at the college. But like you said, that the award showcase is a little more than an hour from now. I'm actually heading into school right now to get highlights of the award ceremony. You're going to see a full recap of this tonight at 11.
All right, some great honorees this year, as always, too, Justin. Thank you very much. Now, one session at the conference this morning was focused on building up women. The East Kentucky Women in Leadership session highlighted female leaders across the region. A group of young future leaders presented a group of middle school girls who are learning all about STEM-related work.
The girls learned about all different types of technology, from augmented and virtual reality to 3D printing and design, coding and electrical circuits, and how to pull all of that technology together to create an entrepreneurship project. So they're our future leaders, and I think they're well prepared.
Now, they are from Verizon Innovative Learning Girls Camp. Other morning sessions included the What's Next East Kentucky Leadership Session. About 2 hours from now, Josh Allen will go from a college football starter to an NFL rookie. But where will he end up? Many fan bases want him with their respective teams. WYMT's Willie Hope is live in Nashville with some of their predictions. Willie?
Steve, Big Blue Nation travels pretty well. but none better than Nashville. We saw that during the 2019 SEC basketball tournament back in March, and I'm seeing that down here tonight as we prepare for the NFL draft. Now, some of Big Blue Nation fans made the trip down to Nashville to witness what could turn into a historic night for the Kentucky Wildcats football program. That will start with Josh Allen, who could go in the top 5 or top 10. Fans had high praise for Allen and gave a couple predictions on where he might end up.
We think that Josh Allen's probably the greatest pass rusher that Kentucky's ever had.
And we're here to say it's not all about the offense, it's about the defense, baby.
We absolutely think he's going to go number 3. I mean, there's no question. He's a great defensive end.
It's going to happen. It's going to mean a lot. He's going to probably go to the Raiders. That's my prediction.
And you heard fans say that he could go number 3. That would mean he would go to the New York Jets. He would actually join forces with former UK linebacker Avery Williamson if he went there. And the Oakland Raiders have the 4 pick. Either way, Big Blue Nation will still be proud of Allen in what they called, you heard her say it, the greatest pass rusher Kentucky maybe has ever seen. That's very high praise for Allen. So we'll see where he goes tonight. I'll send it back to you, Steve, live from Nashville at the NFL Draft. Willie Hope, WYMT Mountain Sports.
All right, Willie, a little hard to hear you. It's very loud in downtown Nashville tonight. Thank you. Well, you can watch the first round of the draft tonight on either ESPN or ABC. It begins at 8 p.m. The second and third rounds begin tomorrow at 7.
And rain chances will continue to increase ahead of a cold front that'll be moving in tonight and into your Friday morning. Good news is weekend looks comfortable, but those warmer temperatures will return once again. I'll have that full forecast coming up in just a little bit.
But first, this year marks the 20th anniversary for the Challenger Center here in Hazard, and they are also a winner for organization at this year's East Kentucky Leadership Awards.